Yeah, Wesley Snipes went to jail for what? Like tax fraud or something? He just didn't want to pay his taxes? I just want to imagine Guillermo del Toro and Wesley Snipes having conversations with each other about like the character or something. I just want to imagine that. I should look up if Wesley Snipes is in jail right now. Income tax conviction. That's funny. 6 counts of willfully failing to file federal income tax returns by their filing dates. A false tax refund claim of over $4 million for the year 1996. Imagine filing your taxes for a $4 million refund. Holy shit. The balls. Wesley Snipes is a millionaire, and he told the government on his tax return, like, you owe me $4 million. That's very funny. So he was sentenced to 3 years in prison. He was released in 2013. This is very interesting. Included a false tax refund. Wow, $4 million in 96 and a false tax refund claim of over 7.3 million for the year 1997. Trying to steal $10 million from taxpayers? That's actually really bad. Like 4 million is already really bad, you know? Like that comes from like poor people. Wes, if you're gonna do that, you gotta be Elon, okay? You gotta do it sneaky. You can't just file a false tax return. You gotta like use the loopholes. That's crazy. Oh my god. The government alleged that Snipes attempted to obtain fraudulent tax refunds, including using a tax protester theory called the 861 argument, essentially an argument that the domestic income of U.S. citizens and residents is not taxable. So he was a real, like, am I being detained kind of guy. The government also charged that Snipes sent 3 worthless, fictitious bills of exchange, in quotes, for $14 million to the IRS. This is crazy. He's kind of a piece of shit. What the fuck? Not like I had a high opinion of him at any point. I'm like not super familiar with him. Failed to file tax returns through the years 1999 through 2004. Oh! Snipes responded to his indictment in a letter on December 4th, 2006, declaring himself to be a non-resident alien of the United States. In reality, Snipes is a birthright U.S. citizen. Such tactics are common of the Freemen Sovereign Citizen, or OPCA, category of litigation strategy. Snipes retained Robert Barnes as his defense attorney. On February 1st, 2008, Snipes was acquitted on felony account of conspiracy to defraud the government and felony count of filing a false claim with the government. He was found guilty on 3 misdemeanor counts of failing to file federal income tax returns and acquitted on 3 other failure to file charges. His co-defendants, Douglas P. Rosile and Eddie Ray Kahn, were convicted on the conspiracy and false claim charges in connection with the income tax refund claims filed for Snipes. So he had like conspirators. So Wesley Snipes got the least amount of prison time for all of them, even though it was his tax return. But I guess because he's like famous or something. So he started his 3-year sentence at the end of 2010. That's crazy. Released on April 2nd, 2013. Finishing his period of house arrest on July 19th, 2013. What a crazy piece of shit. Just stealing like tens of millions of dollars from taxpayers. If you want to use a loophole, use a loophole. Fucking use a loophole if you want. If there's things that, like, you're allowed to do on your tax return, fucking do it. But, Jesus. I didn't realize the Snipes tax shit was that bad, but I guess it must have been if you send a celebrity to jail. If you send a Hollywood actor to jail over tax shit, they must have done something really bad. Wesley Snipes, you crazy piece of shit. What a bad person. He like tried to argue that he's like, actually, I'm not a taxable citizen, even though he got $10 million refund. How do you argue that you're not like, oh, I'm sorry, not even a resident legally? And there's like, well, okay, why did you get $10 million of a refund? What the fuck? Why'd you get a refund? Doesn't make any sense, Wes. What year is Blade 3 anyway? 2004. So when was he in jail? Okay, so yeah, he started his prison sentence in 2011. Snipes didn't file tax returns for like the exact years where he was making a shit ton of money through these movies. From 1999 through 2004. That's so funny. It's like, I didn't make money. Well, Blade is allowed to be sensitive. He's allowed to do that because he's a sovereign citizen and he's not like a legal entity. He's not driving, he's traveling. He doesn't need a license. He can do whatever he wants. What a piece of shit, Wesley Snipes. What a bad person. Imagine retaining like those imaginary made up rules that you insist from like kindergarten when someone goes like, tag, you're it. You're like, no, because I'm wearing the force field. That's what sovereign citizens are. They're like, I don't have to pay tax or have driver license. I'm traveling, not driving. I am free to travel under code section 85B of the United Mexico, and you cannot have legally the rules for police officers are for other people, not me. I'm an adult. I can't get over just how shitty Wesley Snipes is. I'm just like, how? Actually, I shouldn't pay taxes because I'm not a real citizen. By the way, the government owes me $10 million. What a piece of shit. So childish and immoral. Did he have to pay it back? Like, 3 years of jail time for $10 million? I'd do 3 years in jail for $10 million. $10 million for 3 years in jail? That's a good trade. $10 million? That's a lot of money. It wasn't even 3. It was like 2.5 years with like 6 months house arrest. It was like, yeah. I guess that's the moral of the story. If you're going to do tax fraud, do like $10 million and then if you're really famous, then they'll give you 3 years in jail. 2.5 years in jail is nothing for $10 million. That's a lot of money. Imagine already being a millionaire, yeah, and doing that. Production troubles. Reportedly, Wesley Snipes was unhappy with the film's script and original choice of director David S. Goyer, who had written all 3 films in the franchise and then was selected to replace the director of the film, which Snipes also protested. Snipes reportedly caused difficulty during filming, including frequently refusing to shoot scenes, often forcing director Goyer to use stand-ins and computer effects to add his character to scenes. Goyer described making the film as the most personally and professionally difficult and painful thing I have ever been through. Quote. Co-star Patton Oswalt alleged that Snipes would spend much of the time smoking marijuana in his trailer and that he became violent with Goyer after accusing him of racism. It has also been alleged that Snipes refused to interact with Goyer or his co-stars and would instead communicate with them through his assistant or the use of notes. Snipes also allegedly referred to co-star Ryan Reynolds as a cracker on more or one occasions. I was, of course, referring to the snack, and that's what he was, yes. Snipes denied that version of events and said that as an executive producer on the film, that he had the authority to make decisions, but some people had difficulty accepting that. That's crazy. Wesley Snipes sounds like kind of an asshole. Also, why did you steal $10 million from taxpayers? And more. The $10 million was like the rebate. And then like many more millions in terms of like what he owed theoretically. Imagine having the balls to try and steal $10 million on your tax return. Like maybe when you're dying, maybe when you're like 80. Imagine being as much of an asshole as Wesley Snipes, where you're like, I won't film this scene. Also, I don't exist in the land of being text. I'm in another realm. I'm the specialist of all time. Imagine being that much of an asshole. Imagine, like, being an actor getting paid millions of dollars and you're like, I refuse to film this scene. But Wesley, you're on the contract. I am not Wesley. You must only call me Blade. Only use me Blade 3. I have diabetes now.
Hey everyone, it's May 2022, so let's update these Patreon credits. My $5 and up patrons are Wriggle Moss, Speak of the Joker, Black Mama 1993, Mitzi Marcella, Yup, Caden Mack, Andre Philippe, Charisma, The Super One Player, Jacob Arndt, Zachary Kane, Samjul, Cheat.exe, Gothic Sith, Mandelbro, Wales, Bo the Doggo, Gabriel Herrera, Hoofido, Malav Shah, and Lemonade Warrior is participating in the hit game Among Us and is considered the encroacher. Take care, everyone.